Hello and welcome to the Jackal's Den. I am your host, White Jackal, and today we're going to be playing Ōkami HD. Now, Ōkami was originally released on the PS2 in 2006, and was developed by Clover Studios and Capcom. Unfortunately, Clover Studios closed down shortly after the game's release, so we never really got anything more than a 3DS sequel of the game. I have my wife here as my guest speaker as well as player today.
Hey guys.
Her name is Aurora. She's going to be playing most of the time here. This is one of your most favorite games of all time, I would say?
No, it's actually the top, and considering our large library, that's saying something.
Okay, I thought it was Ocarina of Time, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but I play that a lot.
So where we're at right now is we are just past all the cutscenes and intro stuff because they're really long. This game is very much like a Zelda game and also has lots of long cutscenes. If we want to cut down this peach here.
We can't. It is the beginning of the game.
True, you're right. So into the tree of
towards
light.
the light. One of the really nice things that they kept from the original PlayStation 2 is these loading screens. You can skip them if you don't like them, but you get a specialized thing for doing them. You'll see that later.
Now, I was not planning on reading any of this, as I cannot read very well. So I figured the viewers can read it at their leisure. So your typical tutorial stuff here. Now, Isun here, because you guys did not see the intro video, is a little bug fairy sprite of sorts. He's a wandering artist. Who you're playing as here, the wolf, is Amaterasu, or Ami for short. She is the Japanese sun goddess, and in the game, she's being reawakened because Orochi is basically coming to terrorize the world again. You want to tell them who Orochi is?
Known as Orochi no Orochi, he is an 8-headed serpent, kind of depicted with a turtle-based body, one of the more evil yokai that are in a lot of the Asian folklore.
Let's see here. So still just trying to get through the tutorial stuff here of him telling us that we can save our games at these mirrors.
The ubiquitous pots in any video game.
We must smash everything.
Yes, good things come to those who break clay pots. Use your head.
Now the gameplay in this game is going to be a typical action-adventure. As you can see, we're going to be doing lots of running around and exploring. There are battles that are real-time, hack-and-slash style. You get lots of different weapons, actually. From what you see on Ami's back here in a moment is the fire mirror. I unfortunately don't remember its name at the moment. But you get mirrors, swords, and rosary beads to fight with, and you can combine them, make different, basically, loadout combinations, and it changes how all the weapons react. So, like for instance, if you have a sword equipped as your primary weapon, and then one of the mirrors as your secondary, you can use it basically as a sword and shield style and block and parry things. As to where if you have the rosary beads equipped as your secondary, as you can see here, are divine instruments. It'll act like a kind of gun. She barks and shoots them out to the beads at the bad guys.
It's very fun. I will say that Isun is very much, from those of us who love the Zelda series, like a fairy or Navi type of character. Helps you actually talks for the dog, but not as annoying as some of the fairies in the Legend of Zelda series.
I would agree once you're out of these tutorial spots, yes, but unfortunately in the tutorial areas he doesn't shut up, pretty much just like them.
True, but at least he doesn't say, hey, look, listen, every 5 seconds.
No, his thing is he's all about the busty babes.
Yeah. He's a little bit of a perv.
A little bit.
Eh.
I was going to say, in the cutscene right before we started this, he was inside of Sakuya's kimono.
Mm-hmm.
So...
The bridge is out. Oh, no. We actually had a very light-colored, she wasn't German Shepherd.
No, she was a lab.
Lab Shepherd mix that pretty much looked like a toasted marshmallow. We actually named her Ami in her honor.
Now here, you're going to actually see what the main focus of this game actually is how the gameplay mechanics work, is using the celestial brush. Isun's going to demonstrate it, and then we're going to do it. So especially back in 2006 on the PS2, this kind of stuff was, unheard of, is you get to draw in the game and repair stuff or fix things or solve puzzles by just drawing and whatnot. It's still pretty fun today, too.
The 13 brush techniques that he's talking about right now harkens back to the idea of the 12 animals of the zodiac in the original ancient story, where there was a 13th animal as well. We're not going to go touch the puddle just yet.
And here we're going to get a sample of how we actually get pretty much all the brush techniques in the game. So what was the significance with dragons and their fingers?
There were 3 main classes of dragons in Asian culture, and how many claws they had on their hand basically was like their class or level. There was 3, 4, and 5. 5 was reserved for the emperor and imperial family only, and was considered extremely sacred. 4 was kind of just below that, and I forgot where the significance came there. Most of what you see, like this one, would actually be considered the lowest tier. 3 and 4 is most of what you see. For those of you who have ever read the zodiacs in your favorite Chinese restaurant, you can also recognize these constellations as those 12 animals.
Speaking of that, I am technically a fire wooden bunny, or wooden fire bunny, in the zodiac.
Yeah, because the idea of the mythology behind Asian culture goes into a lot of detail. So you have the animal, the primary element, and the sub-element, even all the way down to the time that you were born. It gets very complicated.
And then you are a ox or a bull that is wood and water, or water and wood? I always forget.
I am an ox, technically, because I'm born in January, so depending on how late it ends up in that month, it can vary. But yeah, an ox, main is water, secondary is wood, if I remember correctly.
So you put me out as always.
Yes, and I'm very flexible like bamboo or wood.
So first brush stroke, or celestial brush technique, is rejuvenation. As we saw Isun do earlier, it lets us fix broken things in the world.
Clip out. You need muddy later.
Yeah, you buy new techniques and fighting styles and stuff from dojos later on. Even one called, what is it, Golden Fury?
Uh-huh.
Where you literally get to pee on the enemies and it makes them drop demon fangs, which are a special item that,
It's a special currency.
yeah. And then you can upgrade Golden Fury to Brown Fury. You don't poop on them or anything, you still pee on them, but it like doubles the amount you get. But it costs a lot of money.
One of the interesting things about Ami herself is, even as a dog, she actually hates to swim, which we have a Shiba, and he hates water as well, so I wonder if it's kind of a thing from that.
Well, speaking to that too, is another, there's quite a few collectibles in this game, again, similar to a Zelda-like adventure game from the olden times, is there's going to be lots of things you're going to collect, from just treasure stuff to sell, to actual collectibles, such as, like we were talking about, kind of the demon fangs is a special currency that you collect, but there's two other ones. There's things called stray beads. There's 100 of them in the world, and if you find all 100, you get a bunch of really cool stuff at the end of the game, and one of those things being that when you start a new game plus...
There's one.
Yeah, there's the Demon Claw. That's what the load screens from the original were, is because of how long the load times were. You can do these little mini games to get extra demon fangs or claws, because they can be sort of tough to get at first. But as I was saying, is if you get, I think it's all 100 or like at least 90 of them,
you get 99 by finding them in various places throughout the entire game, and you get awarded the final.
Right, but I'm saying one of the rewards going to the whole dog not liking water thing is that you unlock the ability to change Ami's appearance to quite a few different dog breeds. One of them being a Shiba Inu, and it even, if you have Ami bark here, so that's her bark. Now if you had the beads and stuff and we changed her form to say a Shiba, or I forgot what else kind of dogs there are in the
I think there's a Shiba, an Akita, there's about 5 or so.
Yeah, there's quite a few. But anyway, my point being is that the bark actually changes along with the dog breed too. So it's a nice little, again, interesting touch. The other collectibles in the game that you can find are literal clovers that you dig up and restore. And that is a nod to Clover Studios that made the game. And they reward you with happy points, which are used as sort of experience to upgrade your health and money pouches and things like that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of this, if you're familiar with any Asian culture stories, Nagi is a legendary hero that has to do with Amaterasu in the old folklore. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth between that as well.
Once we get out of this, again, intro tutorial area, the game isn't quite open world as people know it or think about it today, but it's got some pretty huge overworlds that you can travel between, again, akin to a Zelda or something like that you'll be going back across, and you literally go across all of Japan or Nippon. Oh, we got another brush technique, the rat. So that's what, Yuki, if you're familiar with Fruits Basket?
Mm-hmm. He didn't have a sword, though.
Tachigami. I always thought he looked more like a kangaroo rat than an actual rat.
Or a squirrel.
Yeah, because of how fluffy and swirly all his little fur taps are.
Mm-hmm. So here's an example where you start using the brush techniques in the world itself. Does it harken back to the days of cutting bamboo?
Cutting bamboo? You mean the tatami mats?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can't do multiple slashes in the game, I just realized.
No, you can't. You can just do the one. Even after you level up the slash technique, it's just what it can cut. It doesn't give you multiples.
Yeah, there's different styles of rocks as harder items to go for, so...
Because, like, the mist, you have to do 2 lines on the screen, so it kind of overtakes that.
Yeah, so the sword would be 1, then mist is 2, and then the sheep time is 3.
Mm-hmm.
Rats, we're stuck with him.
Alright, now we can finally leave the tutorial area and go get that peach at the beginning of the game that we saw.
But don't forget there's all the goodies. Okay, so that's just pots. Thank goodness that we have the slash now because you can slice through them all.
Assuming you can aim.
Yes. Aiming is important for some odd, strange reason. Hee I cut down a tree. Woo.
And all the razors.
Wasn't me.
Now, if I remember right, there's a stray bead in here off to your left. Oh, our first battle. Yes, Isu, we know.
I just did. Whee!
Pieces.
Mm-hmm. Those were examples of the enemies or yokai you're going to see throughout the world. Okay, now it's either...
It was off to the left. Here, follow the path past the bridge, where that waterfall is. And then it was across the stream, if I remember right.
Gimme!
Oh, there it is. Back there.
Too much vegetation. Go ahead. The food that we're picking up kind of functions like a fairy in a bottle would be. You have to fill it up first, though. And that's the first stray bead.
Special rules. Yeah, like Aurora was saying, is you get these, they call them pouches. They're like stomach pouches. And so you fill them up with food, and once they're maxed out, if you die, it, like she said, it kind of acts like a fairy in the Zelda series. It revives you. And you can get multiples of those as you play.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, life, ink. This is the astral pouch is what it's called. As soon as you fill this up completely, you'll get a revive. Money.
And then these are the happy point experience things that we were talking about that you cash in to make these bigger. But that's as far as the like RPG elements of the game goes.
Oh look! More bad guys.
Nice. If you hear any odd audio cutouts, it's because we have to deal with the animals.
They found something to munch on.
Save. So here on the save screen, it not only tells you the time, as you can see we have another save going that you've played, but if you save the game, if you go into it anyway and you look at it, it tells you at the bottom of the screen how many brushes you've gotten so far, so it can kind of helps you keep track of, you know, your progress on your save file.
So you can see here, this is basically our stats at the time, what we've picked up so far. This is a farther along line. Yes, they don't.
And if you kind of just go straight for the story in this game, it's actually a pretty long game. It's about 33 hours to 40 hours to complete. For a completionist or somebody who wants to get everything, you're looking at, you know, at least 50 to 60 hours.
Nope.
So it's not some short little tiny thing either.
Okay, back to the peach.
Cut the Z peach.
Bloop. So what happened in the beginning cutscene was that Sakuya, the spirit of the tree, had put everybody into the peach to protect them that lives in this village. Okay, that down actually clears out the area.
This one I could never do properly. It's like a rhythm thing. You have to time it just right to get that demon fang.
No. Anything else up here that I can remember?
Nope, it's just checking on all the villages for the moment. If I remember, you have to find every single person and talk to them.
Do you think it's everybody?
Pretty sure it's everybody. I guess just one or two. So another thing too, again, that makes the game so long is beating Orochi is not the end of the game. You actually beat him not fairly early on, but maybe roughly just before the halfway point is when you actually face him and beat him.
Not even, actually. I would say it's probably a third of the way in.
And then, you know, by the way it presents, it's like almost like it's going to be the end of the game, but it actually keeps going. And, you know, his body splits off and makes all these other evil bosses that you have to go take care of across the rest of Japan. Because right now, pretty much your primary concern is this village and its surrounding area. So kind of, again, a reference back to the Zelda series of Ganon, or Ganondorf, of how he never kind of really dies, he always just kind of changes form.
Well, in this one in particular, instead of it's always Ganon and then whatever minions you have to face as bosses in between, this is where, you know, there's one big bad dude that you have to go after, and then that evil causes more evil, just like real life. It's more complicated.
Right, and you got to keep whittling it down.
Mm-hmm.
But we do.
Shiny!
And another little thing that was, again, not quite revolutionary back then, but still something that was very uncommon, is a day-night cycle for a video game, having it real time. This game actually has that. Is you just play the game, it will go from day to night on its own, or as you just saw here, you can actually change it to day, and then eventually night at will, and that actually has purposes from solving puzzles to, depending upon what you're looking for, or even people you're looking for, they will either only be out during the day or night, and, you know, certain special treasures will also only show up during the day or night as well. What art style is this supposed to be kind of based off of? I don't remember the name.
The art style is a shell shade, but it's also called sumi.
Well, I know it's the cell shade as far as the CG goes, but it was the sumi-e.
Yeah, sumi-e, I think is how you pronounce it. You see it in a lot of different kinds. It's a type of ink or painting.
Ink wash paintings?
Mm-hmm. You can see it especially not only in the bold lines in the world and the way that it's painted, but also when you're actually drawing. Same idea.
Ah, we have Mr. Orange.
I wish you could grow a beard like that.
Oh.
Nice long white beard. Probably not be so great to eat with, though.
Well, I'm getting to the white side of things. I don't know about how long and pointy it is, though.
Insulted.
Even the monkeys.
I just threw a little bit of hand. Sorry, Gramps.
Get him, quick. We killed that.
No, it's okay. Remember, you don't get the demon things unless you hit the rosette.
Sure. Nice. Cherry blossoms all around.
Woohoo. The results page just basically shows you how the fight went based on your damage and timing. Shouldn't take forever. Happy points! An actual better translation is praise points.
And something else you'll notice throughout the game is, depending upon who you're talking to, they will actually view Ami as either a just plain wolf or dog or other thing like that. And they all have their own name for her as well, such as Snowball or Fluffy or whatever have you. But, as Isun calls her, Furball. Treasure chest. And can you revive the trees yet? Oh, we got a feed bag. So you actually get quite a few of these. You get seeds, meat, and herbs, and fish. And they're used to feed wildlife around the open world as once we get into it. And you get praise points or happy points from doing that as well. So like anything from tigers to foxes to pigs and sheep and monkeys. So, but as I was saying, is obviously we can see her with all her fancy little markings and flaming mirror and such, but there's only a handful of characters in the game that'll actually note that they can see Ami for what she really is.
Nope.
Okay, so we don't have that one yet.
Solar energy is your life force.
Oh yeah, as a dog you can dig, or wolf I should say. You can dig up treasures and all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Oh, there's some birds. And you get a nice little cutscene that just spins around and shows you the bird as they eat. Or the animal as it eats whatever you fed it.
Oops.
There's Mr. Orange. And more birdies. There's something buried over there.
Bite the bird.
Yeah, I was gonna say, besides feeding them, you can bite the animals and carry them around and stuff.
And there's this guy.
So the main religious themes in this game is going to be Shintoism, is what I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. Don't have any more seed bags, I think.
Nope. So we gotta buy more seeds. Feed the birds. Tuppence a bag. Or yen in this case. Ooh, slice the giant orange.
That's the other thing, is you gotta play with the world a lot. Those are the secrets in there.
Yep.
Yummy! Can't do that yet. Never mind. Ooh, I
So we're gonna explore the rest of the village here, and then once we're done with that, we're gonna call it a wrap for right now, because as you guys have seen, there's lots of talking and cutscenes at the beginning of the game here, and then it gets out into the open world. So there's a mini game. Can you do the mini game with the lady over there with the radishes yet?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have to talk to the kid?
Pretty sure you can just start it right away. She really doesn't like that the dogs keep taking up her radishes.
Turnip.
Turnips.
But you have to get so many for the kid, if I remember right.
You have to dig up all of them and get a special colored one.
Without letting her hit you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as Aurora said earlier, you got to really play with the world, not only with the brush techniques, but just in general. And there's lots of stuff hidden throughout.
And the gaming and guide prompts aren't too bad either. They're not super obvious, but not super basic either. Run!
Oddly shaped turret.
If we had talked to him before, Mushi would have told you that they keep trying to find this special one.
Hayabusa.
The puppy dog.
Well, I find it funny because I think of Ryu Hayabusa. It's Ninja Gaiden, or Gaiden, however you say it. There's also a really interesting thing about just the characters in the world in this game is everything is interconnected in some fashion. So like you might leave this area and like I said, you'll go off and do a bunch of other stuff around Japan, but you'll come back and see these characters over and over again, and their stories will kind of be woven back into yours, such as the little boy right there and his Akita ties into a later story about a bunch of warrior dogs and a princess who like rules over them and stuff. So it's just a lot of little interwoven stories like that that make it feel really rich. That's where, you know, most games, especially nowadays, you know, the NPCs are just NPCs. They're just there to fill up space, and that's kind of about it, unless they are a like main character story progressive person.
Mm-hmm.
Scorching sun.
High beams.
What is it? Ultra UV?
Let's see.
You haven't talked to Kushi yet.
Whee! Ooh, race balls. Yeah. Race. Race ball.
Onigiri. It's one of the fun things about the characters in the game too. Like Kushi here, she has rice bales on top of her head, and the plants are on her sleeves of her kimono. She's a sake maker. And her hair is one of those combs. I don't remember its name. It's not a kanzashi?
No, kanzashi is the hair ornaments.
That's the like pin, right?
Anything that goes into your hair is almost called a kanzashi.
Oh, okay. Although I just noticed that on her kimono she's got the tie in the front.
That does happen.
Why is that? I thought it was always in the back.
No, not necessarily. It depends on the obi tying that you're doing and whether it's front or back. There's also the extra strings like the kumihimo that are tied too. It's decoration.
It has nothing to do with marital status. That's the sleeves, correct?
Right.
And what's that?
So when you have very long sleeves, forgive
as
me, I
she
don't
has.
remember the name. It's usually for someone who's a maiden, never been married before.
Such as Kushi here.
Married women had sleeves that were really no longer than maybe about 2 feet in length from the very top to the bottom.
And that's not sleeve going down the arm like we think of it. Sleeve hanging fabric from the side if you were to stick your arm up.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see the side of her sleeve right here. Hers isn't as long as some of the very ornate ones. They can go from basically where her arm is sitting all the way down to the floor.
Fix her wheel.
Can't run a rice mill without a water mill.
So we came in here to show you how a traditional water rice mill would work.
Water powered. So for example, here's where you would put your rice to be crushed underneath this, and that's the water wheel power over here. Bales of rice that are stored over here. Here's the mochi pounding mortar and pestle, and then I'm standing right in front of a grinder. So you put the rice in there and grind it into flour.
Okay.
He snores.
You're standing funny.
I know I am. My head's like backwards.
All right, well, hang on. Before you hop down there to Susano, there's a little secret in here.
First, clear out the dummies. Ew. Susano, that's Kushi.
So, in the actual folklore, Susano is actually Amaterasu's younger brother,
If I remember correctly, yes.
and he's a very nasty guy.
No.
We have to get sake to wake him up, don't we?
Something like that.
Okay. So then, other than seeing everybody in the village, which I believe we've done,
Except for the guy that's at the rock.
then I think this is where we're going to call it for now. Thanks for joining us again in the den. I'm your host, White Jackal, and this was my wife, Aurora.
See you guys next time.
Take it easy.